Welcome to Good News, Bad News, the Libertarian Christian Roundtable, where every other week we challenge the status quo and give you the Libertarian Christian analysis of what's happening in your world.
Welcome to another episode of Good News, Bad News, the Libertarian Christian Roundtable. I'm Dr. Norman Horn, and with me today I got my good friends Carrie Baldwin, Matt Bellis, and Mr. Sepulveda himself. All of us involved here at the Libertarian Christian Institute. And in this podcast, we'd like to go over the latest in the news from a Christian libertarian point of view, giving you insights that you may not hear anywhere else, or if you do, well, you'll get them again, but just from the mouths of some even weirder people, I suppose. But this week, we are going to be talking about a bunch of different things regarding economics, of course, in the war that's ongoing now in Ukraine, and the State of the Union address, which occurred as of this calendar date. It occurred yesterday.
I like that byline, by the way, Norman. It was like, you could get your news from somebody else, but why not get it from us?
Yeah, well, why not get it from us? Like,
why wouldn't you not get it from us?
Yeah. Well, so we've got some fun stuff to talk about today and some not fun stuff to talk about today. I guess we should probably start with the not great stuff. So as everybody is probably quite well aware, we had in the unfortunate occurrence of a newly sprung war in Ukraine as promulgated by the Russian state. This totally sucks, guys. I don't know.
It wouldn't happen.
Yeah, and we were of course told, oh no, it's not, this is not gonna be a problem. There's no way that the Taliban can take over Afghanistan. There's no way that Putin would ever decide that this would be a good idea. Oh no, they're just bloviating.
Thank God we have Biden in office to make sure that those things don't happen.
Yes, thank goodness that we have our strong leaders at the helm that make sure that these folks are kept in check. Well, lo and behold, that didn't happen. And so now we have a hot war for really kind of the first in a while. Like, this is an actually declared war by one state onto another. There's been kind of this soft war taking place really for the past about 6 or 7 years between Ukraine and Russia. But this is now officially declared. There are tanks rolling in, and it's getting bad, folks. But there's a number of interesting things, of course, that you could kind of point to there. In particular, that the Ukrainian people have really risen up and are fighting back. Interesting to see what's been going on there. What do you guys think so far?
Some of it, unfortunately, is a little propaganda-ish, as I'm sure our friend Carrie Baldwin would like to talk about on the feminine side of that. And we have seen some basic photo shoots come out of guys holding what looks to be cardboard, and that I don't know how real those shots are, but if you're watching TikTok at all, you'll definitely see some people taking care of business over there in Ukraine, which is good to see. It just goes to show that, a high-powered rifle with more than 30 rounds in the magazine might be needed. So take that, gun controlists.
Yeah, well, I mean, obviously, Putin is wrong for invading Ukraine, and the Ukrainians should defend themselves against that. I am concerned. However, comma. I am concerned about the propaganda. There's a ton of propaganda out there, which Matthew did mention one piece, which was Miss Ukraine had posted a picture of herself on Instagram. And it turns out that this picture's been floated around as, Miss Ukraine is turning in her, her high heels and strapless dress for combat boots and, and this, whatever this assault rifle is that she's carrying. Turns out that the rifle that she's carrying is an airsoft gun. And that photo was a photo shoot for an airsoft promotion. So she was modeling for it. But it's been,
however, hold on, Carrie.
It's being passed around.
What they don't realize is the Ukrainians have been invaded by Russian squirrels. And airsoft guns do great against squirrels.
It is being passed around by lots of people, and I don't know how it started. I happened to see it posted by the Not the Bee website, the non-satirical side of Babylon Bee, which is interesting because they're the ones who are saying, "Oh, look, Miss Ukraine is, you know, joining the fight." But it's not just that. There's a lot of pictures that are being recycled of Zelensky, you know, being out there on the battlefield, and those are old. You know, who knows if he's really out there on the battlefield. They're
One thing I didn't
definitely
know
he's
is that-
definitely being he's definitely
ahead.
being painted as Trudeau's foil. Don't forget that
Oh, yeah.
that Trudeau
Foil?
was super authoritarian and totalitarian and you know, shutting
Yeah.
down bank accounts of Canadians, and then, you know, out of the blue this Ukrainian thing happens. So Zelensky is definitely being painted as probably more than he is a warrior king.
It's kind of like a convenient foil here. I mean, like let's
Yeah.
distract.
I didn't know, though, he was an actor.
I,
Like a
well,
legitimate actor. He has been in things
Comedian.
and gotten paid as an actor for Ukrainian films.
Kind of like a Ronald Reagan
He looks
character
like he's
then.
Russian
Well,
film.
you know,
he's
It was
been
Russian
in,
films.
Oh,
he's been
sorry.
in some interesting
Yeah.
things. But the point is that, like, it's very easy to get wrapped up in the whole, okay, look at this propaganda stuff and this is a big distraction, and why are they, you know, why are they hyping this up? Who's hyping this up? Obviously it's the media, but why? And the crappy thing about that is that it just foments the anger between these two sides, and you have Americans now picking sides, and
Yeah.
if you don't pick the right side, then oh, you're one of them. And it's, you know, whichever side they don't like, you know, right now they're Russia's the bad guy and Ukraine's the good guy, and if you don't have the Ukraine flag in your Facebook photo, then you're wrong.
Well, but isn't it what this really is doing? Like, it's causing people to want to take sides with a state. That's
Yeah.
what's kind of weird about
That's
it, I
what's
think.
weird about
because
it.
I think it's obvious that, like, okay, the Ukrainian people are the good guys. The Russian state is clearly the aggressor. Okay, that's true. But when it begins to say, like, okay, well, now we will expand our reach, and now that we're going to legitimize the actions of one state, and we're going to say that the people on the side of that are in the country of the aggressor are also the big problem. This is like, so you demonize, you know, the Russian people, who are definitely not all on board with this,
Right.
Absolutely
you know,
not.
and we're going to lift up the Ukrainian state here as some sort of paragon of virtue or something like that, which is definitely not the case either. So, like, that's what's frustrating.
But
I think.
speaking about demonizing, I mean, for the past 2 years with the lockdowns, the word freedom and any sort of association with rights or liberties has been absolutely demonized. I mean, right up to Canadians getting their bank accounts closed out by
Yeah.
the government. And then not even a few days later, now they want to say, oh, Ukrainian, you know, the Ukrainian government is fighting for freedom, and it's all through violence.
Yeah.
And, you know, for the past 2 years, we've been using peaceful, nonviolent resistance in the name of freedom. Freedom was demonized. We were demonized. And now they want to say, oh, freedom's great, as long as we're fighting for it in a violent war by the state.
It's
So
unfortunate because we, in this generation where we are able to hear from a lot of different voices, that there are even Russian soldiers who are coming out on social media saying, I thought we were going on a training exercise. And then all of a sudden we're shooting at civilians, and I'm being told that if I don't, then I will lose my life. And then, you know, just as you guys were talking about, you know, the idea that the Ukrainian government has been this paragon of virtue up until this point, let's not forget, this is a very corrupt government in Ukraine as well. I mean, Zelensky, however he's being painted, is not necessarily as pure as the wind-driven snow here.
Right,
So,
exactly.
all of these, it's almost as if the liberal left media and that are trying to paint Ukraine as this bastion of leftist ideologies that will that all of a sudden the Trump-backed rightist Russian era is coming through Ukraine and going to destroy all the trans rights that they've worked on. That's what's being fomented these days, and it's kind of sad to see that people quickly devolve into that type of mindset and not realize that there's people who are being threatened with their life if they don't shoot other people. And that's just ridiculous.
That's ridiculous.
It's because, guys, this is the problem. Outside of libertarians, nobody makes a difference between the state and society.
Yeah, that is a problem.
And I'm very frustrated. I'm the first one of all that doesn't make those distinctions.
And suddenly it's like, these soldiers are like, we're getting told, oh, if I don't shoot somebody else here, I'm gonna get shot. It's like suddenly, like, now the bomb is dropped on them, to use a bad sort of play on words here in the situation, that, wow, maybe I should have been more concerned about individualism from beginning or something to that effect, because why did you join up with this army? Because you just sort of expected this to go well? Yeah. I mean, like, I feel bad for him, yes, but it's also like, this is the natural consequences of philosophies, and that's really that sucks. I mean, that just sucks, guys. I mean, but man, for what it's worth, I think that there's enough blame to go around on all sorts of fronts, of course. Let's face it too. Like, it's not like there hasn't been 6 or 7 years of lead up to this that could have been stopped by not just Biden, not just Trump, but also like Barack Obama. Like, this is. You had a chance.
Obama a part of a big coup in Ukraine back in 2014?
Well, I don't know the details of that one. But...
Yeah, I don't know the details. It was an attempted something. Yeah. I think the point, at least that listeners can walk away with, is we are in favor of both the Ukrainian people and the Russian people. We absolutely oppose the Ukrainian state and the Russian state, and the fact that they are dragging their people into a violent war, into a violent conflict, because of the petty disagreements between these two governments. They can't get their act together. And so they're going to drag fathers and sons and daughters and mothers into war, who are going to go kill people and be killed because Zelensky and Putin can't agree on various treaties and contracts. That's ridiculous.
It gets bad.
Oh, by the way, among the only sanctions that I would actually kind of favor was the one that they seize and freeze the assets of Putin himself. That one makes sense because he was directly responsible for the situation. So, but the problem is the sanctions that affect everyone else that was not involved in the situation. And so,
yeah, but even the sanctions, like, you'd rather see an economic war, which can be more quickly reversed, than this sort of hot war thing that ends up happening. Like, I think that relatively speaking, given the options that were available, like that the sanctions and the way this has been, like even the SWIFT ban and all that, like which is basically closing down opportunities for market liquidity all over the place, and the ability for transactions to occur internationally. Like, that's probably a much better way of dealing with this than just like further escalations of various hot war conflicts, essentially. So we'll see how much of an effect it ends up having. But like, this is an interesting kind of 21st century possible way of waging conflict in a manner like that we haven't seen, and that's going to make this like particularly interesting to observe. Now, there's one other thing I think it's kind of, since we're just getting into the economic side of things for a second, and the propaganda that we've already talked about. There's one other thing that's notable, that is that just it kind of infuriates me, and talk about like the foils that are used to distract people. When you hear people say, "Oh, crypto is a way for Putin to get out of this. We need to control crypto because of it." Bull crap.
Bull. Yeah.
That is such a bunch of hogwash that you should. I mean, my gosh, it's like suddenly, as if first of all, you're like, wow, suddenly you Nancy Pelosi or whoever I heard Nancy Pelosi saying this at one point. I was just like, oh wow, now suddenly you understand enough about crypto to say something intelligent. No, I'm sorry, like that doesn't work. This is not. In fact, access to crypto markets is what will help the Russian people get around the problems. It doesn't help people like Putin. Because it's distributed and decentralized, and that is it, as opposed to being able to be controlled at top levels of government, like the SWIFT markets, like these other pieces of the global financial market.
Can I
Apple
read?
Pay and Google, and Android, they shut down their mobile payment systems in Russia, and it caused all kinds of havoc within Russia itself.
Yeah,
but it's not really affecting Putin or any other person. In elite status, just the regular everyday Joe on the streets of Moscow. So that's
Russian
another one of
soccer
those
players
things.
were
Is like
banned.
that was a dumb one though.
Well, yeah,
Russian
but I
soccer
mean,
players cannot play. Can you
was that?
imagine? Russian soccer players cannot play certain tournaments.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Even
like
that.
come on, really?
Yeah, that's stupid.
That's dumb. But
But by the way,
I mean that just
was
goes
gonna
to
tell you-
show that whenever we give up that much control over our assets to somebody else, how quickly those things can be shut off from us. It's actually kind of eye opening.
yeah, it's very interesting. That's true. But crypto is not like that, and you will not
Right.
be. You can neither have it's not an escape valve for somebody like a Putin or a Russian oligarch or whatever.
Well, I have to read Hillary Clinton's quote
Uh-oh.
that
Oh,
she said today.
what
Can
is
can I
this?
put it on screen?
Did
Oh.
she say
Have
that
it
from
ready?
jail?
I don't have it ready to put it on screen,
No.
but
I have
I'll
it.
read it. She was I think
Read
she
it and
was
I'll put it.
Put it up.
Yeah. She says, we're looking at not only states such as a China or a Russia manipulating technology of all kinds to their advantage. We're looking at non-state actors destabilizing countries, destabilizing the dollar as the reserve currency. She says, I was disappointed to see that some of the so-called crypto exchanges, not all of them, but some of them are refusing to end transactions with Russia for some philosophy of libertarianism or whatever.
Oh my gosh.
Whatever kism, Miniac, whatever kism.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Oh, she's disappointed. But, I think the other interesting
She's
tell
trying.
from
She's
the
trying.
other interesting tell from that quote is that they're not just looking at is Putin able to use crypto in order to get financing for his war? They are looking at non-state actors. Who are
Yeah, that
non-state
was key.
actors? Regular Joe Schmuckatellis
Yeah,
like you and
yeah.
I. And that's
No, it's because I was gonna tell you guys the way the situation works right now is, officially speaking, big banks. That means the big, gigantic transactions of oligarchs are stopped because Russian banks cannot make payments. So Russia as a whole, they cannot import because they cannot make payments, but they can send dollars out. No, they can receive dollars, but they cannot send dollars outside. So they can pile out with dollars inside of Russia, the big banks, but they're not gonna be able to use them for absolutely nothing whatsoever. Now,
a good way to launder money.
they'll find a use
Can be
later,
investigated.
some use later on. Now, regular people can make payments through crypto, though. Does it make sense?
Yeah.
So that's actually for regular people, because big banks, the amount of transactions that they have to do is they're just gigantic. But regular people can use crypto right now in Russia and actually make their international payments or whatever payments they can come up with it or that they need. So it is actually the way it's working right now. Crypto is actually helping just the regular guys and
Shocker.
the ones being punished.
I love it. I think it's
Shocker.
great. Yes.
What do you know?
It actually worked pretty well. Like it was that's one thing that was kind of like
Yeah.
somewhat functional.
That's awesome.
So decentralization works.
Who knew?
Yeah.
Huh.
Yes, and getting currency out of the hands of the monopoly state also works.
There you go.
Wow. Amazing.
Multiple
Competition.
moneyness.
It's beautiful.
New.
It's well, to kind of start pivoting from something that's beautiful into unfortunately something that is not so beautiful, though. I think it
Laughable.
behooves us to talk a little bit about the dumpster fire that was the State of the Union address last night. And I think I'm giving it perhaps a little too much credit by calling it a dumpster fire. It's probably an insult to dumpsters everywhere. I don't know.
Well, at least we can move into the Lenten season without hearing from the president ever again. Fasting from the president
For a little while.
for a little while.
At least until tomorrow when he says something else idiotic.
Yeah.
Right.
But, you know, so the State of the Union address was yesterday, March 1st, 2022. And, you know, you have to imagine that, like, in the lead up to this speech, I mean, can you imagine, like, they're probably prepping for the speech for a couple weeks. And then, you know, on
Modifying
roughly
his
the
drugs.
21st of February, things start looking like, this Ukraine thing is going to be a thing. We better rewrite that you know, those two paragraphs that we have in there.
Right.
And then, you know, the next day it's like, yeah, those 4 paragraphs that we just put, yeah, I think we got to probably, you know, rewrite that again. Then the next day it's like, okay, 20 paragraphs is not going to be enough. And then you hit the 24th and it's like, all right, we just got to, we have to, I don't even know anymore.
We'll
So
do it live.
You know, do it live. Which was pretty much it. However, so to like, I'll tell you what, I listened to a good bit of it. I read the entire thing. I have read the responses of the GOP and the LP, and I've read and observed some commentary on it. I will say that even after reading the whole thing and watching part of it, at least the Ukrainian portion, the war, Russo-Ukraine war, or whatever you want to call it, was actually not that terrible. It was a little bit of blundering here and there. The most precious portion of especially was where the most unbelievable gaffe I've ever heard in a speech ever, where Biden is basically said, you know, Kiev may get surrounded, and I'm paraphrasing a little bit, but you'll get the idea. Kiev may get surrounded by tanks, but the heart and soul of the Iranian people shall not be shattered, or whatever. and I was just, you listen to that and you're just like, wait, did that just happen? Like,
And everybody in Iran went, yeah, sure.
yeah, sure. I mean,
Okay.
We're not being
wow. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, this makes, you know, Dan Quayle look like an amateur. You know, like gaffes with Dan Quayle were amateur hour at this point. I mean, like, come on. Wow. Okay. You know, that happened.
Yeah.
But again, overall, the Ukraine portion wasn't that bad, save for that. And one other thing that I'll get to, but it is notable that at least, you know, Biden said that, you know, the United States and our allies will defend every inch of territory that is NATO territory with the full force of our collective power. He did say that, but then he said as well that, like, we are not sending troops into Ukraine. Like, we're not going to do that. It's like, okay, cool. Like, that's actually pretty good.
And collectively, the American people said, "We believe you."
Yeah. Well, I mean, but this is one of those, like, you kind of you get to hold them to it. You get to hold their feet to the fire on this particular point. You know, so it's not like you know that you know, George W. Bush coming in and stating in the State of the Union that, like, you know, we are concerned about weapons of mass destruction in Iraq. That's why we're going to go after them.
He had good eyes.
Yeah.
I'm just curious
But-
if all of the Americans who are taking the Ukrainian side are actually hoping that America does, you know, provide military support in some way.
I think a lot of them are.
Well, I think that the one sort of exception here is, again, when he says that we'll go and defend NATO territory, you know, if Russia continues west, like, what is that going to look like to them? It's like, you know, to what extent will they go to do that? Like, that's kind of the hot war concern going forward here. But at least what is being, you know, stated directly is that we're, he says, let me be clear. Our forces are not engaged and will not engage in the conflict with Russian forces in Ukraine. Hold them to that. That's at least significant. This is not like, hey, there's weapons of mass destruction. We think are there, therefore we're going to go in. It's not happening. So okay.
Ukrainians should defend their soil, and the U.S. government should not be involved.
Yeah, I mean, what's going to happen though, and this is admittedly already happening. There's a lot of money and aid that is going to Ukraine via the U.S. government, over $1 billion even thus far, and it hasn't even been a week. So that's a reality too. So it's not like we're uninvolved. And by we, I'm just saying the United States of America here generically, but
taxes.
Yeah, your tax money. But hot war with the U.S., it's not quite there yet. Now, to your point though, it has, what have the rumblings been from other people been about? And there has been a lot of rumbling about from even legislators saying that, oh, we need to declare it a no-fly zone or stuff like that. Now, do you guys, for listeners, you may be well aware what that means. And my fellow commentators here may know this too. No fly zone is a declaration of war, folks. That is de facto what it means. And
it's not a TFR.
Yeah, but the problem is that legislators do not know that. That's why I don't even follow them
dumb.
on social media, because everything they write is insane. So like just ignore them.
Just ignore them. Yeah. But just that's a reality too. So don't let people deceive you on those points and so on. But so anyway, I guess the point is that at least as it pertained to State of the Union, actually, like the Ukraine piece wasn't that bad. Say for the gaffe. And then one other thing, which I did say I was going to mention, and that is that Biden had the audacity to suggest that, in the months leading up to this, we were well prepared and we did a whole bunch of preparatory work. It's like, I don't know if you guys remember what you guys were talking about a month ago. You obviously did not have a handle on this. So, taking this weird amount of credit for the amazing preparatory work that you did with our allies. I'm not buying that. And that just it kind of undercut, actually some of the decent things that were said during the speech about this. So, okay. But again, what is the president but a professional liar in the end? So, okay, well, so there was that. And as I said, that was kind of, maybe the best point. And the highlight of the speech was the first 12 minutes. Like I said, it probably went from being about 2 paragraphs into, being a quarter of the speech entirely. But, for about the first 12 minutes, we got the Ukraine, homily from the president, and the rest was a absolute mess and of just garbage and bloviation on a scale I did not know was possible to be done in a given speech by a single president. Because I mean, you got all the things you expect, the classic here, let me deflect over to my special guest over here who has been afflicted with thus and such a disease or has had this amount of challenge in their life. And so that you can fit, camera pan to this person while I distract you with various elements of my social and economic plans. You got those sorts of things, of course, and we've seen that for eons at this point. But it also felt like that topics were jumped around so fast that you could barely keep up with them. So we're only going to have time to really go for a couple of different topics. But I think that you could kind of amount to at least 4 different things that were pretty nutso. Of course, there were just the general economic plan that we were fed, which ranged from various aspects of infrastructure planning to preschool for all. Of course, we had to hear about COVID, but with an absolutely bizarre kind of series of sayings and things that went, just stopping short of declaring victory, but acting like everything good that's ever happened in the pandemic is due to you. I don't think so. totally, misrepresenting the victories, while not even mentioning some of the failures or the things that were like, oh, maybe that was not a good idea. No apologies, no sorts of like, we thought this and then we learned and then we did something better. No, it's just like it has been nothing but winning the entire time with Biden. He does nothing but win. That is all he does. All he does is win.
Honestly, even the whole whenever he brought up the removal from Afghanistan, didn't really even bring it up.
Wait,
but you
no,
would
he
think
didn't bring it. No, he didn't bring it.
No, he didn't. He didn't bring it up per se. He did kind of talk about soldiers who had come home, who had passed, and all this kind of stuff. And then there was that one shout out about 13 of them, which I thought was actually a good line.
It was a total burn. So what?
It was a slam dunk. It was like on the other scene, but it would have been good though for him to at least show some humility in some sense or fashion to say in some way, we didn't do great on Afghanistan or something, but we didn't do great on that. But you know what I'm saying.
The thing.
I mean, at least something, but it's
unbelievable.
Completely disingenuous, complete dumpster fire. You're right. I was just, I was crying in my Fosnot.
I couldn't. I mean, if you did not know, if you had, let's say you were in cryogenic sleep for the last year, you woke up on, yesterday at 8 p.m., Central Time, to then tune in to this speech, you would be like, man, we must be in a freaking utopia by now. I mean, yeah, there's this war going on, but doggone it, we're doing great. Unbelievable that
inflation isn't 8%.
Wow. Yeah, you wouldn't have any knowledge of, like inflation is, it's a concern, but it doesn't sound like it's that bad because we created 6 gazillion jobs.
Lower your costs. Just lower your costs.
By the way, when it comes to employment, we're not back to the 150 million jobs that we used to have before the pandemic.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, that's what's so bafflingly stupid about these pronouncements from the White House in this regard. It's just like you're declaring victory over what? It's like, okay, you just got sacked for 20 yards and it's like 2nd and 40 now. And then you got yourself a 10-yard running play, and now it's 4th and 30, and now it's like, we won the game, guys. Like, great job.
Good analogy. I really enjoyed that.
Are you? I'm gonna lose my voice after this. I'm just so frustrated. Like, I just can't believe these sorts of things, and I mean now I'm jumping around to different things.
This is the SpongeBob meme where they're walking away from the burning city, saying, "Look, we saved the city."
No, Norman, I'm actually enjoying your performance. So just
good. You want me to keep going? Because I got more.
I'd rather listen to you than listen to the president. So.
Oh well, thanks. I appreciate that. That's very kind of you to say.
Well, it's a low bar, but.
I did not say that.
She's right. She is right.
She complimented the sentiment.
Yeah.
She really did grab the sentiment.
Well, but it is.
I would appreciate Norman's speech because he probably would get up there and be like, "Things suck. See you later."
Well, I mean, to be fair, like the State of the Union address is kind of like a total farce when you think about it.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's only been this way in like U.S. history. Like, I mean, even if you go back to its first like televised versions and the actual State of the Union address, it's only been like 55 years. It was in the 40s when that really turned into the address. It used to be, the article of the Constitution that requires the president to do something it's like from time to time he has to go and say something to Congress but it's in like the form of a letter. It's like George Washington's was like a a one-page letter to Congress at one point, and like in whatever. It's like, but now it's
tallies.
Yeah, now it's
a one-page anything in Congress would be nice.
That'd be great. Oh, jeez.
Yeah, to think, what a. But now it's this multi-thousand word pronouncement on on anything and everything. Plus, we got to make sure that we have planned standing ovations at every 30 seconds and where we do little dances, or in the case of Nancy Pelosi, sometimes doing this, which I'm not really sure what that was.
She was hiding nuts for the winter.
Guys,
Hey, Russian squirrel.
That's the Russian connection.
That's the Russian squirrel.
Now, guys, let me share quickly the data for the total employment in the United States, just so that they're realistic. Okay, the peak was back then in February 2020, 152 million and 500 and a half. Let's say you can just go with that, and we're still at 149, so we're not even back to 150. All the stimulus in the world, we're not back to the total amount of people that we used to have employed back in February 2020, which was the peak.
Still down 3 million.
Well,
and a lot of inflation.
And so it's remarkable to consider that, like, one of the things that Biden touts as being, his huge victory is this massive creation of like 6.5 million jobs or whatever, as if like that's something this friggin' idiot couldn't make a job happen if he decided that he was going to quit everything and start a burger business. I mean, good Lord.
I would go there. I want to go to that burger place.
Biden's Burgers.
Biden Burgers. I want to see what it's like, because it's probably terrible. Yeah. And, anyway.
Well, this is what it'll be.
We would just go. That's all.
I mean, it'll be served on a bridge, on a, and then it'll end up falling down after you paid $200 million for a burger.
This is $2 million, 250 billion dollars.
But legitimately, like, everything he has done has not only not created jobs, they have been specific, like very acutely, demonstrably bad for actual creation of jobs. Even the, goodness gracious, I mean, like, even the nonpartisan analyses of these big old reconstruction bills have gone on to say, like, look, you're going to do this and it's going to, jobs are going to get created, but this is going to slow down the actual creation and the actual creation of jobs and an actual recovery. And This is not even like, this is not controversial. Like, this is stuff that is, and this is stuff that should be plainly evident. Like, this is what's so bizarre about the way that this administration thinks. They literally have said here in this speech that, inflation, that we, did not talk about the early discussion of transitory inflation, or, it's no big deal. It's not that high. No. It's admitted now. It's like, this is a real problem, guys. But here's the thing, whereas, and this is, this is going to baffle you. Like, I mean, get this. All right. One way to fight inflation that was spoken from the pulpit of the White House here, well, or I guess Congress or whatever, is that you can reduce wages and make people poorer. Like, but
as a solution to
that's a
inflation.
Solution to inflation. But that's not the way Biden thinks. Biden thinks the way that you fix this is by lowering costs. Okay.
Fixed it.
Wow. And
Magic.
how do you expect you're going to do that now? Well, I'll tell you the solution. This comes straight from the pulpit here. Buy American, raise the minimum wage, tax a bunch of rich people, because that's apparently how you fight inflation.
Done.
What in the, I mean, I got lots of 4-letter words here, and I don't want to say them, about how blitheringly dumb this is.
Well, we're going on a long time here, Norman. We got to bring this back home.
Oh, fine.
To some
All right.
some kind of conclusion.
Okay.
The conclusion is you cannot fix inflation by spending more.
Can I let me give you one other quote here that is
Okay.
This is a good way to close out. Okay. All right. I don't know if you guys heard this, but if from recently, in our in our Constitution or in the Declaration of Independence, what are the rights of man?
Natural rights.
What is it according to the Declaration of? I forget.
Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness.
Liberty and the pursuit of happiness. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You're wrong, because according to Joe Biden, and I quote, the most fundamental right in America is the right to vote. and have it counted. And look, it's under assault. And I'm not joking. That was an actual quote from the president of the United States. Like,
Your
okay.
most fundamental right.
Okay. Now,
You gotta get
just wait a second here and say, like, all right, all there's new laws that are coming out, and I don't know all the details of all the rights. Of all the bills in various states about voting, and that's not really the point. Some of those are probably really bad. I wouldn't be surprised, and not that I'm a huge fan of voting anyway. But here's the thing: when a president stands up and says that voting is the most fundamental right that you have, something is wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Your most fundamental right is picking me.
Yeah. Isn't that amazing? Isn't that amazing?
Yeah.
That like that is what is amounted to as your right. That's how apparently that's how you get rights. That's why it is fundamental. The most fundamental is that without being able to vote for whoever is going to be in power above you over here, then you don't get anything else.
But it's a democracy.
That's a freaking insidious little piece of information that he stuck in there that somebody wrote into that speech. You know what? I don't know. You know what? Fine. Go to hell, guys. This is so stupid. I'm just
He's on fire.
I'm
He's on fire.
That's why I chose this background.
Somebody put him
In
out.
fact, I'm fuming after that.
And we
it's
here
just like,
at the
come on.
Libertarian
He needs a
Christian
donut.
Institute hope you have the ashiest of Wednesdays and a wonderful Fat Tuesday.
That speech could just go to hell in a handbasket because that was just awful, guys. And I hate to put it this way, but go and read it. To our listeners and our watchers here on YouTube and everything, go and read it because this is a telling thing. Look for do the analysis yourselves and see what I mean. Like you can pierce the veil here. Go read and think through what they're saying and why it doesn't make sense.
Mm-hmm.
These guys are utterly ridiculous in their pronouncements on how they think they can run your life, and run this economy as though they have some sort of competence in the matter.
They don't.
Come on, give me a break, man. Let me use what is the classic Joe Bidenism now? It's like, come on, man.
Come on,
Really?
Come on, man.
I mean, it's absurd. It's absurd. And this just goes to show it's like, when you do not put your trust in princes. Thank God we don't have to do that realistically. And there's a lot of crap going on in the world, and we've talked about that tonight. But I've just about had it.
Well, we should all celebrate by going and having a Fosnot.
Oh, what? Yeah. What?
They're
Okay.
for it.
Can we end on a happier note? Tell us.
Yes.
So our friend Matt here has been eating and deliberately. Goodness gracious! What? I've been watching him do this the whole time, going like, "This is." I know you're doing this deliberately, dude.
Am I?
So.
How many more do you have there?
I've got at least a half a dozen upstairs.
Oh no!
What are you doing?
So here's the
Explain
thing.
it. Explain it.
In Lancaster County, Pennsylvania, unfortunately Doug's not here.
Yeah, I know. Right?
But Fosnot Day was actually yesterday, so this is the day after Fosnot Day. But it coincides with Fat Tuesday, or what some people know as Mardi Gras. Excuse me. But it's the day before Ash Wednesday. And we, in Lancaster County, take all of our leavened bread and fry it up into rather bland little donuts that we douse in sugar and then consume with great abandon. So that during the Lenten season, on the next day after Fosnot Day, we then burn our donuts and then smear them on our faces with the ashes of our fallen donuts. So I make good decisions. Here's to you.
Wow.
Fosnot
Okay,
Day.
that I did not expect. Okay, the burned donuts and smash on face part.
No, we don't do that
one
part.
Was, oh,
That's new. That's just in the Bellis household.
that's in the Bellis household.
Yeah.
A
You got to
unique-
start somewhere with
a
these
unique-
traditions, right?
a
They have a
unique
year
portion
one.
It had to
We have
start.
a year
It had to
one.
start somewhere. 400 years from now, it's be doing that and wondering how it began. All right.
I would
Well,
love to see that.
yeah.
Oh, please. I wish I had a time machine. Anyway, go ahead.
All right.
We need to close this out.
We got to close this out. But hey, we hope you've enjoyed this episode of Good News, Bad News. We do this every other week. Just want to remind everybody to please give us a like and subscribe on YouTube, or if you're listening to this on your podcatcher, make sure that you give us a nice rating, give us your feedback, and write to us at podcast@libertarianchristians.com if you have something you'd like to ask or to tell us, or just give us some feedback. We'd love to hear from you. And so from the Libertarian Christian Institute and all of us involved there, to all of you, we wish you a good night and hope you have a great week, and I guess a happy Fat Tuesday or something.
Look alive, Aaron.
All right. We'll see you guys in a couple weeks.